Hey Rebels, my name is Matthew Barton. Welcome to the Rebellion Brewing Podcast. Northern Saskatchewan has pristine wilderness and a bounty of natural ingredients. Early in 2020, we were approached by a company known as Boreal Heartland, and they supplied foraged ingredients like birch, yarrow, and sweet gale for one of our new beers. Randy Johns is sitting down with me today to talk about his company, Boreal Heartland, and how they inspired our brewers to make Flora Borealis. It's a Gruit-style beer based on an ancient recipe that is hundreds of years old. So let's get into it. Randy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Matthew. I'm really a pleasure to be here with you today.
How's it going?
Well, going pretty good. We're just getting into the really busy time of our harvest season right now. It's June 28th, and our green plants are the main part of our harvest. So we're just looking at the fireweed, and we're looking at the goldenrod, and we're looking at the yarrow, and we're looking at the things, and those things are just about ready. So like next week, we'll be harvesting that. So this week we're still on birch leaves, and we're on Labrador tea. So yeah, we're just getting into our heavy time. If anybody's got an agriculture background, it's kind of like haying time, right, on the farm. This is what we do. So yeah, really exciting time. But I'm happy to be here with you for a little while to talk about what we do.
Well, let's start with who you are and what you do with the company.
Yeah, I'm the manager of Boreal Heartland, and Boreal Heartland is run by a community development organization, Keewatin Community Development Association, and they started Boreal Heartland to see if we could do some develop a company in the non-timber forest product sector, with the intention of giving northern people, primarily Indigenous people, a chance to have some income earning activities based on the natural products that we have all around us in the boreal forest.
Why is that distinct or special from, say, timber? You mentioned timber.
Yeah, non-timber. So it's kind of an industrial name. So when you're thinking about the forest, most industry thinks about the forest in terms of how many 2x4s can you get, right? Or how much paper can you make? So the distinction for us is that we're working with plants that aren't in the lumber industry. So we're if we work with a spruce tree, for example, we'll be picking spruce buds off the tree, or taking the resin from the sap from the tree, chipping it off. We won't be cutting the tree down and making 2x4s out of it. So that's the difference between non-timber forest products, like the name, right, and what we do. And there's a whole lot of other plants in the boreal forest. Maybe 1,000 different green plants that all do their thing in the forest. And so we're interested in those other plants rather than, say, the 2x4s, like I say.
You mentioned picking spruce buds, and that leads me to my next question, which is about foraging. My question is, it's not just walking around picking stuff up. There's got to be some skill or knowledge involved.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole method to it. Well, first thing is identification. So you have to know what you're harvesting. There's like I say, there's a lot of different plants in the boreal forest, and you need to know one from the other, so that when we sell to Rebellion yarrow, for example, you and your consumers know that it's yarrow. So yeah, we need to know identification. We also need to know sustainable harvesting. So we don't go into an area with the intention of wiping out a plant or anything like that. We want the plants there next year and for future generations. So we keep track of where we harvest, and we keep track of how much we harvest, and we want to see the plant growing again there next year. So that's part of it. Also, to make harvest worthwhile, you want to go to a place where the plant is growing fairly profusely, so that your hours that you spend harvesting are worth it, right? Because we pay our people by the hour, but we also have a value per pound, and so if they make more per pound than by the hour, we'll pay them by the pound. And then there's also a lot of community people that bring in plants as well, and we pay them by the pound. So that's a little bit about the foraging kind of practice that we do. Everything is picked by hand at this stage of the game, and so people are venturing into the boreal forest. A lot of them are going back to their trap lines. That indigenous people, that their traditional trap lines, and they're harvesting there. So it's a really good connection to keep that connection between the people and the land in northern Saskatchewan. So this helps people keep that connection for them and their children, their grandchildren, etc.
I've seen discussion and comments online about traditional knowledge required to undertake these activities. How does that work with what Boreal Heartland's doing?
Well, a lot of the people that we work with have a knowledge of the land already, because they've gone out with their parents or their grandparents. So, I mean, there's all kinds of aspects like safety. So you can't just go wandering off into the bush and expect that you're going to have a great experience. You might get lost. You might see a bear, and you might get eaten up by bugs. And you need to have water. So there's a certain safety aspect. That's the first thing. And then we help train people, and a lot of people bring that knowledge with them. There's also, like I said, the knowledge of the plants, but the knowledge of the land, you can get into trouble fairly quickly. And again, that's back to safety, but you just need to know how to handle yourself, and how to be kind of in tune with the land that you're working in. So that's, and a lot of that comes, the traditional knowledge, there's that knowledge, but there's also the knowledge of the plants. There's the knowledge of how to be sustainable, the relationship, between people and the forest. That's handed down by tradition in the Indigenous community.
Can you kind of expand a bit upon when you speak to sustainability and conservation? How does that work with your company?
Well, our primary, it's a fairly simple rule of thumb that we use for harvesting, and we call it, and it's in general in the foraging community, I guess, if it were, it's called the rule of thirds. So the way that works is, if you're going to harvest, 1/3 is for you, 1/3 is for the plant, and 1/3 is for the animals. So don't harvest any more than 1/3 of a patch of plant, or 1/3 of the leaves on a plant, say. So it's kind of that rule of thirds. So you want to, and that's just a general rule of thumb, to make sure that you leave things behind for the plant itself to repropagate itself, and also for the other species, the other beings that use this plant. So if you're harvesting flowers, you got to think about the bees. So if you're harvesting leaves, you got to think about everything that might want to eat those leaves or might want to use those leaves. So it isn't all about us, right? It's about everything that is in the forest. We're just part of it.
I like that idea, that it's not just we're gonna pick clean and strip everything and profit now and who cares later.
Yeah, it's more of a relationship with the land and with the plants on the land, and that's the only way I can really describe it, I guess. But we're just part of the whole of everything that's out there. When you go into the bush, that's, I guess, you get to feel that you're just a small part of everything. And I mean, you are part, so you can do things, but you can't overstep what's given to you.
How much territory do you guys cover?
Well, we harvest around the Larange, the tri-community, Lac La Ronge Indian Band, Arange, and Larange area. So we harvest around here. Some of that's got to do with the practicality of how far do you go and so on. But we work with some other communities. We're doing some work with Sucker River, is a community just north of Larange, and also Hall Lake is about 50 miles away. There's other places that we go for special things, like when fireweed season is on, we're going to go a little bit south, close to Weaquin, because there's good patches of fireweed there. And then when we're picking juniper berries, we're going to go over to Deschambault Lake, which is east of us here. And there's some really great patches of juniper bushes over there. So we're going to go over there to harvest juniper. I think if and when Boreal Heartland expands, like when our demand becomes that we have to bring in more product, we'll be going more to other communities because, again, you don't want to just focus in one place because you can start to over harvest in an area. So we want to work with more northern communities and get more northern communities involved.
We've talked about sustainability and conservation, but when it comes to the beneficial economic impact, what kind of numbers are we looking at? How many people does this affect?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You know, it's not at this point it's not huge, but it is a contribution. We're likely going to spend this year on harvest about $100,000 on bringing in our product, and that's what we pay out to the harvesters. Like I said, either through wages or by the pound. If we're still just waiting to find out about our market if we're going to get into a big mushroom harvest because there's chanterelle mushrooms really close here, and if we do that harvest, I mean, we'll probably be $50,000 or something like that in the mushroom harvest. That's a fast moving kind of fresh mushrooms. You know, it's a pretty interesting business.
I know when local chefs here, they get those chanterelles, they're advertising all over social media. They're like, we got chanterelles for a week. Come and get them, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Regina Farmers Market, we move a lot of Saskatchewan chanterelles into Regina Farmers Market. So there's a big demand for them, and they're real nice specialty mushroom. So we do, but anyway, the economic impact, that's $150,000. We're likely going to have, between, somewhere around 100 people bringing us plants all together. If we do the mushroom harvest, that number will be up around 200, maybe 300 people that will be purchasing from. And then we also have a core crew, because we like to have stuff coming in the door, but you're never really guaranteed. So you have to have a core crew that you send out every day and you support them with transportation and all that kind of stuff. So we've got a core crew. Right now we got 5 guys out. Next week we'll likely have 10 guys out. And then in processing, we have 1 to 3 people in processing. So when we bring it in, we have to mostly we dry the plants, and then we put them through a grinding process, and we store them in airtight containers, and they're ready to sell to Rebellion Brewing. So that's that's kind of how it all goes there.
I know that when you guys reached out to us, the first initial email came to me, and I just said, "Oh, ingredients. That's Zal and Vanessa." And so I forwarded it on to them, and I kind of forgot about it. It didn't impact me, so I was like, okay, whatever. And then a few months later, Vanessa and Zal were really excited, and they're like, "We've been in contact with this company called Boreal Heartland. They've got these really interesting ingredients, and we're super inspired." And Vanessa says, "I've got this ancient book, this old book of recipes," and she says, "I could make us a gruit that no one's tasted for hundreds of years."
Wow.
With these special Boreal Heartland ingredients. And we're all kind of sitting there and we're like, well, will it taste good?
Yeah.
Like if no one wants to buy it, I mean, that's at the end of the day, you want people to buy the beer.
Yeah.
And she did a test batch and people dug it. And now it's here in form, big form, and you got to name it, which I thought was really cool.
Oh yeah, it's just great. Like it's been so nice working with Rebellion, in that you had interest in our products, because you never know. You send out email, then some of them land in the recycling bin and so on. But Rebellion, really took an interest, and I guess when it goes back to when we were doing research on our plants, we came up, and Sweet Gale is one of the first ones that we came up with, because actually from my research, it showed that Sweet Gale was used in Europe before hops became popular. So Sweet Gale was used as one of the main ingredients, or flavoring ingredients. So based on that, then we reached out to breweries. but it's been so great working with you guys, and you send a little bit off, and again, we sent some. Okay, Rebellion took some. Then we kind of forgot about it too, but but then you guys, hey, we're making a beer. It's like, wow, great. And so here we go. The Flora Borealis, and this is empty because I've tried it, right? And it was great. I mean, what a great beer. And with the design, I've had lots of comments on the design of the by a local northern artist as well. And then we're acknowledged on the can. So I mean, we couldn't be happier with this. This is on our shelf, on our trophy shelf. This beer can. So that's a really great thing.
Something that we're really proud of is getting to feature a First Nations owned business and a First Nations Métis artist, Rianne Setti. She was great. We reached out to the community and we talked to the art gallery, and they said, you know what? We have an artist for you. Go talk to Rianne. And she was such a treat to deal with. And working with you guys has just been a really awesome experience too. Vanessa and Zal were just all smiles.
Well, that's really good to hear. I mean, it's great feedback. We haven't been around that long, and we're still finding our way, in the marketplace. But this is really great to hear that it's a positive experience working with us, and that you like our ingredients. Well, we've heard from other people that use our ingredients that they like what we have because of the freshness. They like it because if they're in Saskatchewan, because it's Saskatchewan sourced or Canadian sourced, right? So I guess in the dried herb world, you can get dried herbs that maybe have been on the shelf or in a pail or something for 5 years or something like that. But ours never again, we don't harvest more than what we predict we can sell, right? Because of the sustainability thing. So this is my job in the winter. I try to predict, okay, what's Rebellion going to buy? What's everybody going to buy? How much are we going to need for our teas and so on? So that's how we have targets, right, for our plants. We know how much sweet gill we want to harvest. We know how much Labrador tea, and we try and hit those targets. And that's so we don't over harvest, but also so we have product when customers want to buy our stuff.
I know that you guys aren't just doing raw ingredients for manufacture by big companies. You also do a line of teas. Where can people find your products?
Yeah, we're expanding our line, but right now in Regina, our tea line, it's Boreal Heartland. You'll see we've got some really great packaging, northern scenes like a sunset or northern lights and stuff. So we've got four SKUs of tea. One's a fireweed and mint blend. It's called Restoration. That's our most popular. So what we do with the fireweed is we ferment it for a little bit. We grind it, and then it oxidizes or ferments. I guess to you guys, not really fermenting, but the sugars start working, right? And so it turns darker, and we leave that for a day, and then we dry it. And we blend it with wild mint, and that's our Restoration blend. That's the most popular. Relaxation, we make another one that's made out of plants, and it really does work. It helps if you wind down. If you had a busy day, the tea works. We have an energization blend that has plants that'll help boost your energy level. There's one wild sarsaparilla, the woodland cree, they call it rabbit root, and we work with a few people that are traditional plant users, and the one lady, Eleanor, she says, well, we call it rabbit root. I said, well, why do you call it rabbit root? She says, well, you know what rabbits like to do, eh? and so anyway, the sarsaparilla is supposed to have maybe some properties in that direction. So that's energization. And then it's Labrador tea is the fourth one that we make. So those are our tea SKUs. We also have dried chanterelles that we sell. So in Regina, Local and Fresh carries our products. There are a number of other stores. Local and Fresh was one of the first ones. Regina Farmers Market, you can find in Regina Farmers Market from time to time. We also have a co-branding arrangement with Federated Co-ops. So, and we have two tea, the Restoration and Energization in the Federated Co-ops, and they're co-branded under the Co-op Gold Pure brand. So you can buy our teas in any co-op store in Western Canada.
That's awesome. I think the last thing I wanted to mention to you was because you guys are part of this partnership, Rebellion is going to be donating some of the proceeds from the sale of this beer to mental health and anti-suicide initiatives in the north. And we just felt that we really wanted to put our money where our mouth is. You know, it's not enough to say, put a black square on social media or put out a feel-good post. You really have to make meaningful action. So I wanted to thank you guys for helping us be a part of that and bring this all together. It just feels good.
Yeah, no, but and huge thanks to Rebellion for the and like, it's not just a gesture; it's a real thing, right? So, and that's a huge it means a lot to us, and so there's unfortunately some issues with youth suicide in northern Saskatchewan, and also mental health in general. I mean, we had a young guy from the north that walked all the way to Regina, to bring awareness to the Tristan DeRocher, to bring awareness to the youth suicide issue, and to see, you guys didn't have to do this, to see a private company step up and say, this is what we're going to do. That means a lot.
He actually is the one who inspired us. Seeing what he did with the fasting and the walk and just speaking very softly and about an issue that's really important. We said that, we can do something. There's a capacity here. And I actually reached out to him and I said, who can we work with? Who can we help? And he recommended a group to us. And so we reached out to them and we said, we want to collaborate with you. And they were like, well, we don't know. We've never worked with a brewery before. And they vetted us and they called around and they said, are these guys legit? Are they shady operators? So yeah. We're glad it's working out. And like I said, again, glad to have you guys on board with it too.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's we're still at the stage where every sale is huge for us, so it's really good. And to have a quality partner like Rebellion that we're working with means a lot to us. And so, much appreciated. And the beer tastes great, by the way. Did I say that? I think I said that, but I'll say it again. The beer tastes great. And we're really happy that we we had some ingredients that made the grade kind of thing. And I know you're looking at some other stuff, and we're really really hoping that comes along. We're also looking at other products as well. So we're going to be producing some essential oils this fall. So we've got a number of target plants, essential oils from boreal plants. So there's an essential oil you can make from yarrow, and it turns out it's a sky blue, this essential oil, and it's got a really great aroma and so on. So we're going to be making essential oils. We have a line of spices that we're looking at bringing out from northern plants, and also ready to drink teas. So we're looking at making ready to drink teas, which move a little better or move a little more volume than loose leaf tea. So anyway, those are some things we've got in the hopper.
That's really exciting. Randy, thanks for your time today, man.
Yeah, for sure. My pleasure. Like I say, it's, we got harvest going on and so on, but when you wanted to do this, I'm like, oh man, okay, half an hour, I guess, but it's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Matthew.
Cheers.
Okay. We'll see ya.
Rebels, thanks for listening today. If you have any questions or comments about this episode, be sure to join us on our brand new Facebook group page, The Rebellion Brewing Podcast. I'm going to include links in the show notes so you can find more about Boreal Heartland online. I'm also proud to let you know that we're members of the Saskatchewan Podcast Network, a one-stop shop for tons of locally produced shows from across our province. You can find them at saskpodcastnetwork.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Untapped so you don't miss out on the latest in Sask craft beer news. Thank you for joining the Rebellion.